Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Technique Tuesday. My name is Ali Board, and no matter where you are watching in the world, whether live or on catch up, you are astonishingly welcome. Now, I've got to apologise for my voice first thing this morning. It is a little bit croaky. I'd love to be able to tell you that I've been burning the candle at both ends, but really haven't. And that's why I was a tiny little bit late in going live, because I just had a bit of a coughing fit. So I apologise for that. Now, I have big news for you today, which I'm going to do at the top of this broadcast. I'm going to tell you all about it in just a second. And then we're going to do a little bit more to our Leaf project. And then I'm going to repeat that information at the end of the broadcast too, because it is incredibly important news. But before we do any of that, if you are watching live on Facebook, on my Alison C. Board Facebook page, then it's incredibly important that if you have made a comment that I say hello to you. So first comment of the day today goes to Patricia in Suffolk. Hello, good morning to you, Patricia. Who else have we got? We've got Angie, we've got Ali D. Jane is saying that it's sunny in the Isle of Man. You know Technique Tuesday by now, we get a weather report. It's all good. Lynn, good morning to you. Barbara, yes, you're absolutely right, Barbara. Rain first thing, bit of sun at present. Bloomin' cold, though, I have to say. Hilary P, good morning. Who else have we got? Oh, they're coming in thick and fast. Rabina, good morning to you. Sheena, good morning. Jane H, good morning. Yes, I could do getting rid of the lurgy. It's getting dull now. I'm a little bit bored of it, has to be said. You know me, don't like being slowed down. Good morning, Rosie, over there in France, and good morning to Thea too. Now, wherever you are in the world, let me know if you are watching this live. Hazel saying it's chucking it down in Italy. That's not what we expect, is it? Let me know who you are and where you're watching from, particularly if this is your first broadcast. Now, I promised you news, and I promised you big news this week. And if you go over to the blog, you will see that there's a little bit of good news, a little bit of bad news, and then some awesome news, okay? So the little bit of bad news is that next week, which will be the 29th of November, that is going to be the last Technique Tuesday for a little while. Some of you know that I'm taking a learning sabbatical at the beginning of next year. So actually, Technique Tuesday is going to take a break. But here comes the little bit of good news. It's coming back bigger, better, redesigned, possibly in a different place, but don't worry about it. I will give you all of that information in March, right at the beginning of March in 2023. Not because I don't want to do it, I just need to concentrate on some other things. And like I said, it's going to get a redesign, it's going to get a makeover, all of the stuff that you are used to with Technique Tuesday is going to come back bigger and better than before. So that's the tiny bit of good news, tiny bit of bad news, a little bit of good news. Now for the awesome news. The awesome news is that I am going to be doing my Christmas Day broadcast again this year. So that's Sunday the 25th of December. And there's lots of information because it's bigger and better than before. I've done it the last couple of years because I'm very aware that on the 25th of December, while I really enjoy Christmas and I like Christmas Day and I get it to spend with my family, not everybody out there might be celebrating. Not everybody out there enjoys Christmas Day, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you spend it on your own. You might be surrounded by people and it all be terribly overwhelming for you. So it's important to me that this wonderful creative community that I have set up, we get to meet up on that day. It doesn't matter, you don't have to be in dire straits or any of those kind of things. It's just because we've all become really close friends on these broadcasts, or I like to think that we are. And I like to reach out on that day with a really simple project, something that you can do very easily at home, that you can spend the day concentrating on. But I need to tell you where to find that information. So, you know the drill. If you go to the website www.learningtopaint.co.uk and you pop over to the bit that says resources. Now yours might look a little bit different to this if you are looking at this on a phone or a tablet. But if you find the resources part in your menu, Can you see there? It says Christmas Day broadcast. Now, if you click or tap on that, you will read all about everything that I'm trying to achieve on that day. I've tried to, it's a lot of information to get out there, so sit down with a cup of tea and read it through. But it's all about what will I be doing. There's a little sample of what I'll be doing. When am I doing it? Where am I doing it? So you don't have to watch it live. I will be doing it on Facebook. That's where it will go out live. But I'm also very aware that people might want to avoid social media on that day or might not have access to social media. So if you go back to that page later in the day and you scroll all the way down, I will be recording it and I will be popping the footage on here too. I've put, will you need anything else? There's a link to the broadcast. There's a link to the Facebook again. Now here, can you see that very big lettering in the middle where it says, please share, share and share again. I want to try to reach as many people as I possibly can on that day. Because like I said, it's important to me that we all come together and we all have a chat and we make sure that we are okay. Now at the bottom of this page, I'm trying something new, so bear with me. There's a little chat room there that I have set up. Again, so you don't have to be on social media. You do have to sign up for it, but it doesn't do it. There's nothing sinister about that at all. It's just to keep you safe. It's just so that the little bit of software that I'm using to create that chat room knows that it's you and not some bot. And then we can chat before the day, we can chat during the day, and we can chat after the day as well, just to make sure that we are okay. So to remind you, you go to my Learning to Paint website, go to resources, and you click on that Christmas Day broadcast. So please share, 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 and share it again for good measure, because I want to reach everybody and anybody who just kind of wants to see a bit of a friendly face and wants to chat to lovely people like yourselves. So that's the awesome news that I had to bring you. Now, who have I missed saying hello to? Jane, good morning to you in Cornwall. Pam, good morning. Denise, hello, lovely Denise. She said, feel better soon. Thank you. Maureen is there. Rachel, good morning. Sheena, well, you know, it's just a lovely thing for me to be able to do. And Anne is there too. Dee, good morning, our lovely admin on LTP. And Anne too. Now, the person who's not in the room this morning is my mum, because it's my dad's birthday. And that's the other thing I had to say, was to put it out into the ether to wish my dad Mike a very happy birthday indeed. I'm rubbish daughter today because I'm working all day, but I did make him a nice tea on Sunday. So, you know, I'm trying to make up daughter points there. Right, shall we go to the overhead camera and we will look at how we can finish off this project, even though we've got one more week to go. So here is that, oh, Anne is saying her mum Beryl is there as well. Morning Beryl, good morning. Morning Arlene. Oh, she's on holiday in Weymouth, not too far away. So here is that sheet that we did right at the start of the project, where we tested out our materials, we tested out all sorts of bits and pieces, and I've got another thing to test out today. Camera is in extreme close-up. There you see. That is how far we pushed our project last week. So we had the colours. I was doing a little bit of negative painting last week where I was trying to create these veins. But do you remember me saying that actually some of them would need a little bit of a highlight? And that is what I'm going to be doing today. But to achieve that, I want to test a couple of things out first. And the things I want to test out, this is going to surprise some of you, are these. Oh, there goes the cough. Now, these are not pens. These are actually brushes. Let's just take the lid off them. And you can see they are super, super fine brushes. They're actually designed for doing nail art. So you've seen it on my nails sometimes in the past, where I have some really fancy pants painting done on. They're extremely fine. Now, I have rigger brushes, just before you say, why aren't you using your rigger brushes? But none of my rigger brushes are as fine as these. So if you like doing kind of detailed line work, these might be a consideration. And if you want the link to these, it is over on my blog. So that's on the Technique Tuesday blog. Now, there's various sizes I haven't decided what size I'm going to go for yet. That's too small. Not going to go for that one. Let's do it by a process of elimination. That looks pretty good, has to be said. That one I think is too small as well, so we'll get rid of that one. I think that one's going to be a bit on the long side. I think I'm going to not have much control over that. Oh, I'll put the lid back on that one. That needs a bit of TLC, doesn't it? I've jammed the lid back on that one and made it go a bit peculiar. There you go. If I run that under a hot tap, it will actually bring it back to life. Oh, it's kind of got all shoved together in there. Let's put it back in there properly. There we go. And then let's have a look at this gold one. That's too short as well. So process of elimination tells me that I think it's going to be the red one I use. Now, I am not used to using brushes this fine, but I think they are going to be the perfect thing. They are pretty much brand spanking new. So you're getting to see me use these for the very first time. I haven't practiced with these, because the first time you play about with something is always when you do something in a live broadcast, isn't it? Rabina is saying, ooh, must-haves. One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to use some gouache paint. Now, gouache is similar to watercolour, but much more opaque. So I'm hoping that it's going to give a nice kind of finish, a few little bits of linear work over the top of my leaves. Now, this is what's called a tinting saucer. As you can see, typical of me, I've labelled everything. This is where I keep my gouache because it tends to muddy any palette that I use. And I've got zinc white and I've got titanium white. I don't think I'm going to use my titanium white because I think that's going to be too white. I don't know. Let's put it to one side. I think I'm going to be using my zinc white, which is more like a mixing white. I'm going to have to move some stuff because it's going to slide down. So let's just organise your workspace, Ali. There we go. That's better. And I don't want to use this very, very fine brush for mixing because I'm in danger of damaging it. So I have my normal brush, the brush that I was using last week, and I'm going to do that. Now, I could do all the veins of my leaves in white, but again, I'd be very afraid that they would look too artificial. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my zinc white gouache. Let's put that in there. It's a sort of single cream, double cream, yogurty kind of consistency. And into it, I am going to scrape a little bit of the Inktense pencil that I used for completing my project. Okay, so I've got a blade here and I'm going to scrape a little bit of that Inktense pencil into that gouache. Then I know it's the exact right colour and I can mix this together, look, and I get a pale version of the same colour. And it's very easy to mix up the right consistency. I think I want it to be a little bit deeper than that. Yes, little brushes. Who knew that Ali Board could use little brushes? Ali Board's been using little brushes more and more and more recently. Quite a shock to the system. Angie is saying, I try to avoid my fine paint brushes as I tend to go for pernickety details rather than concentrate on looser paintings. Just a time and a place for everything, isn't there, Anne? Loving the use of the word pernickety, has to be said. Right, let's just test that colour out on our little cheat sheet to make sure that it is a good consistency. It is. I'm not sure that it's yellow enough, certainly covering well enough, but I'm not sure that it's yellow enough. So let's push it a little bit further. Maybe, oh, I nearly stuck my brush in my honey and lemon then. I'm not sure that it's quite opaque enough or that I've got enough squeezed out. So let's mix up a little bit more. So we can scratch that Inktense into there and we can mix that up. And that's a bit of a richer colour, isn't it? Maybe a tiny touch of water in there to make it go a bit further. And again, let's test it out. This is why this sheet is so very useful. So there might not be a huge amount of difference in the camera, but there certainly is for my eye, kind of looking better. Now that that colour is mixed up, I can use the finest brush I think I've ever used. The handles aren't great on these, I'm not going to lie. They're very sparkly, but they don't kind of have enough weight to them. Perhaps that's a good thing. I don't know. But, ooh, look at that super fine line. That's very exciting, isn't it? Oh, look at that. I'm going to be able to get some nice detail on there. Ooh, great for whiskers. Good morning, Linda P. She's saying that she got sidetracked by a phone call at 9 o'clock. Please don't ever apologise. You're welcome any time. So, Linda, I'm just sort of playing about with some stuff this morning. Super fine brushes. I'm liking those. They work well. Right, without further ado then, let's get reorganised. So I'm going to stick my colours to one side. You're not going to be able to see them, my palette in the camera, but you are going to see the results from them. So I've zoomed my camera in as close as I dare with this project, and let's pick that up and let's add. We don't want a lot of detail back on this. We just want some. We just want a few highlights here and there. I'm going to start with the yellow and then I'm going to mix up some other colours. Oh, I feel like I need to get my hand in. Where do I start? Let's start with an easy one. Let's start with this one, which is going to go up here. So it's giving just the tiniest touch of highlight. I'm going to smudge that end in. I don't want it to stand out too much. Let's do the same for this one here. Again, we're just giving it an extra little punch, and I'm using my finger to smudge the end out so that it doesn't look too stuck on. Now I can hear you crying, well, Ali, why are you using gouache and you're not using the white ink or some of the things that you tested out before? I'm using the white gouache because it means I can take a wet brush. I'm actually going to use my sleeve for this, just because I've got too many things in my hand and I don't have kitchen roll. I'm going to use my damp brush to smudge the end of that highlight into the surroundings, and then I've got just that extra little punch. It's a tiny bit of detail that you wouldn't think makes all the difference, but it really does. So let's try another highlight over on this side. So we've got one coming up in there. Not entirely convinced you can see that in the camera. So let's go over that again. If you can hear my dog barking in the background, I do apologise. He's having a row with his brother at the moment. They're just trying to decide who gets the warmest bed in the house. That's what that barking is all about. So again, I'm going to use the end of my brush to smudge that highlight in, and it gives it just that tiny bit of extra punch. I'm going to come back to that one, and because I want to put some pink ones in, we're going to go back over here to add some yellow into this end leaf here. I'm running out of colour a little bit, but that's all right. I want to coat all the bristles of my brush, and kind of let's make a light. I want to pop a tiny highlight into here again to give it a bit of extra punch. A bit of extra punch in there. I gather that a couple of you are having a few issues with sound. I don't think that's my end. That might be Facebook. I'm looking at all the analytics of my broadcast and it says that the sound is absolutely fine. So it might just be something that I don't have control over, I'm afraid. Right, coming down for this highlight, got one coming in up here. So again, just that little extra punch. So coming in, rolling my brush at that side and coating it with a little bit more paint. And then coming in and over and around. So we're kind of just trying to create a tiny touch more extra 3D effect to our leaf shapes. It's coming in up and over the bottom of that one, needs blending out and smudging into the surroundings. So like I said, we're not after massive. I'm not trying to do all the veins on the leaves or anything like that. I'm just trying to give an extra little touch of highlight. So I need to do some remixing. So again, I'm going to move that to one side so I don't damage it. Let's clean this off and get, where's my bit of kitchen roll gone? There it is. Ooh, last, maybe penultimate sheet on the roll. Let's clean this out and get, what should I do next? Let's do the pink next. So back in with my brush. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Sandy. Back over with my brush. Let's mix up a second colour. So let's go for the pink. So a tiny bit of zinc white paint. I don't think I'm going to need too much of the pink, but let's mix up a good quantity, just in case I change my mind, as I have been known to. So I'm picking up the colour and I'm rolling it off my brush into that separate bit of the tinting saucer. Then let's find the pink and find my knife. So we'll scrape that back in over there. Now I have a feeling this is going to be quite bright. And then mix it in. Okay, it's not as bright as I thought it was going to be. Thank you, Pam. Thank you for your technical advice. Yeah, reloading the page sometimes works. I think I could get away with it being a little bit brighter than that. So let's scrape some more in. Better to do it incrementally than push it too far. That looks better. Oh, that is really a kind of candy floss sort of bubblegummy kind of colour, isn't it? Looks slightly darker in the camera than it actually is in real life. Let's make sure it's all mixed together. I don't want any bits of Inktense crayon. Good morning, Rosemary. That will do. Pop it to one side. Let's wash everything out. Get the original back in. Now we can look at adding a few tiny touches of pink highlight into there. So coming back over here and swiping my brush into there. I'm just trying to roll it around into the colour to make sure that it is all coated. And coming back to my painting now, and then let's get a few little highlights. Again, I don't want an awful lot. These brushes are incredible. Got to remember these when it comes to doing whiskers and all sorts of things where I want a super fine line. Now we can start on my geranium leaf a little bit more. I think I could do with getting a highlight in, well, just a couple of them really, just to kind of get it looking more three-dimensional. Lots of people commiserating with each other over the awful cough. Yes, it is an awful cough. I'm very bored of mine now. It's slowing me up. Don't like it when things slow me up. So again, a few highlights, not very many, not anything of huge amounts of consequence. All we're trying to do, and you'll see why next week with the last part of this project, we're just giving it a little bit of oomph, shall we say. I'm going to go back over to these now, add a second coat. Gouache does sometimes need a second coat, particularly this fine, because you need to sort of build up the strength of colour. That works well. I think, do I want any more of those? Maybe one more pass on here. Rachel saying no coughs here. I'm very glad to hear that, Rachel. And then one last pass, I think, of super fineness in the pink. And then we'll repeat that process with the green. So let's just go through it one more time. Wash out my brush. Let's clean this tinting saucer away. Trying to be very good and kind of clean up after myself today. Doesn't happen every time. Usually there's a massive amount of fallout around my chair after Technique Tuesday, but today I'm trying to be a good girl. Right, so this is going to be the green then. So we've got just a few little bits and pieces to go on our project, and then I'll tell you what it is we're going to be doing next week for the final part of the project. So here we go. Here goes that bit of zinc white. How much green do I need? I don't need a massive amount, I don't think. So let's get that in. Now, where was the green? This was our leaf green Inktense pencil. So we'll scratch that in. Now I'm going to push this a little bit further this time. Let's get that in. I mean, you're not wasting an awful lot, are you? This is not using huge amounts of resources. Oh, that's a nice colour. Look at that. That's the colour of my lounge. We are using tiny, small amounts of material, so you're certainly not wasting anything. So let's go over here, mix all this together. It's all good. Pop it to one side. You know the drill by now. Introduce the painting back again, so don't need any green on that. I think a few little swashes of green on the geranium leaf would be good. Let's pick up some of that colour, roll the brush around in it. I don't want it to be overloaded. You probably notice that I roll the bristles of any brush that I'm using in the colour all the time to make sure that it's coated evenly so that I don't get any kind of drips or bumps or lumps into it. And then, ooh, I need to stand on my head. Let's go in here with a nice highlight. Ooh, that's looking good. I like that. And I think that will instantly need a second pass. So let's pop that over the top. And looking good. Now, I don't want to do this everywhere. Do you remember when we painted this in? I said I don't want detail everywhere. I just want it in a few places. So I'm not going to go round. It's always very tempting, isn't it, when you're doing something in detail to go round and do all of it. I don't want that. I just want a few highlights, just enough to give it some texture. So we'll do that bit over there, and then while that is drying we can add a couple of green highlights to this leaf. Whew. I've got exactly the same feeling that I had last week when I'm kind of rushing headlong to the end and I don't want to spoil it. So let's come up here and get a nice highlight in there, smudge the end of that. So we're adding just the tiniest amount of detail into what we're doing to complete it. Let's get another pass in on that one. Now that one was yellow and it's not showing up enough, so let's pop it in the green and see what happens. There we go. I think that's enough, if I'm honest. Loving these brushes, liking these a lot. I can see all sorts of whiskers and hairs and feathers and line work and lettering coming out of these brushes. How exciting. So there we go. There is pretty much my completed leaf painting. Now you would think, wouldn't you? You're right, Linda, I love that brush. You would think that that would be the end of the project for me. But I thought it would be interesting to see. Do you remember, let's go back onto front camera. Do you remember right at the beginning of this project, I said that I was playing around with technology? Do you remember that? And I have all the bits and pieces in here that I was playing around with, which I'm going to get out now, because part of it is really pertinent to what it is that we were doing. So I originally took my tracing of my leaves and then I messed around with it. And do you remember one of the things that I did with it was that I was playing around with it to see if I could make it smaller. And that got me thinking about what I could do with this. Let's call it an illustration because it's kind of closer to illustration than it is fine art. I wondered if I could really kind of reduce this down and do other things with it. So my idea was to make my own decorative tape with it. Now I'm going to need a bit of technology to be able to do that, and it's going to be a challenge to see how I do that and how I show you guys next week for Technique Tuesday. But I'm going to give it a stab. I'm going to kind of run through it, and then probably what I will do next week is I will show you the steps that I took, and I'll show you the finished product. Does that sound something a little bit different? I thought it would be quite interesting. So if you like technology and you've got a little bit of software knowledge, or maybe you've got something like Photoshop Elements or something on your computer where you can play about with graphics, then you're going to enjoy next week. And hopefully, I've never done this before, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to turn it into an entire sheet of tape, which I'm then going to cut up. That's the plan anyway. But let's don't disappear on me yet, because I want to go back over those bits of news just in case you missed the start of this broadcast. So next week is the last Technique Tuesday until March 2023. Why am I doing that? It's not because I don't enjoy Technique Tuesday. It's simply because I need a little bit of time away, and I've got so many projects in 2023 that I need to give myself a little bit of breathing space. And I want to give Technique Tuesday a bit of a makeover for 2023. Obviously, this kind of format of broadcasting, I learn something new every week. There are changes that happen in technology and the ways that I can reach you, and I want to be able to embrace those too. So you're just going to have to put up with me not being around for a little while. When Technique Tuesday does return, I won't be broadcasting as often because, as you can imagine, every Tuesday morning is quite a commitment, both for me and for your lovely selves as well. So Technique Tuesday will occur on the first Tuesday of the month, and it will be a much longer broadcast. So it will be much more like a kind of free to access tutorial which you can follow along at your leisure. That is starting in March 2023. So if you can be a little bit patient with me while I sort all those things out, I would be very grateful. However, that doesn't mean that I am not going to be broadcasting to all of you on Christmas Day. That Christmas Day broadcast really important to me, and I need your help. I can't impress it upon you enough. I need your help to reach as many people as I can. So every time you see it on social media, please share it wherever, just on your timeline. If you know somebody that you think might be feeling a little bit isolated on Christmas Day, share it with them. Don't do it publicly, just kind of go, have you seen that this is happening on Christmas Day? And here's where you go to find it. So you go over to my Learning to Paint website. Let's take you back to the main page. So that's www.learningtopaint.co.uk. You go to the resources part of it, and you will see there that it says Christmas Day broadcast. And that is where you will find all of the information ahead of that broadcast. If you want to join in with the project that I'm doing, then you're very welcome to. If you just want to pull up a sherry and join me in the morning to be part of that lovely kind of inclusive creative community, then do just that. You don't have to paint. Here is a list of what I will be doing, and the list of the a list of the materials that you will need. They are very simple things. It's not a complicated project at all. Things like felt tip pens and a small brush and a pot of water and a pencil. If you are in any way creative, they are going to be things that you find around your house, because I want this project to be accessible to those who don't ordinarily paint either. A little bit of mindfulness for them throughout the day. It's going to be on the 25th at 10 a.m. You'll be able to watch it live on Facebook in the same way that you do Technique Tuesday, or it will be back on this page for you to watch it catch up, just in case you want to avoid social media on that day. And I've put, will I need anything else? There's links there to where you can find things, and there you can see it says, please share, share and share again. I just want everybody to share it. You cannot share this event too much. If it reaches somebody out there in technology ether, and it makes them feel a little bit more included on the day than we've all done our job. And there is the little chat that I'm going to start up in a couple of weeks so that we can keep in touch with each other, and you won't need social media to do it. So I'm hoping all of that makes sense. It's a project that's very dear to my heart, as you know. I love the opportunity to be able to say hello to you at any point at all. And we're scattered all over the world, and I want to keep that going. So bless everybody who's saying that I deserve a break, and that they understand that I'm going to come back in 2023 with a vengeance. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you for your company this morning. I hope you enjoyed that project. Who knows where it's going to end up next week? Let's hope it ends up in a technology success. But even if it doesn't, I will share it with you with our last Technique Tuesday of 2023 next week. Same time, same place. Take care of yourselves, and I will look forward to seeing you then. Bye, lovely people. Bye.